Good evening, friends, family, and other guests, and thank you for coming to the 2018 Public Safety Academy graduation. My name is Benjamin Couillard. A little bit about myself. I am the captain of the South Windsor Fire Department Explorer Post and plan to study fire service administration as well as paramedicine down the road. But first, on July 16th, I'll board a plane bound for Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri to attend basic training for the Connecticut Army National Guard. I would like to thank everyone who came here tonight, because without your support and encouragement, none of this would be possible for any of us. But this speech, however, was like the ultimate senior project where I had a month to do it, edit it. So naturally, last night at 6 o'clock, I began writing just as any other senior would do. I would like to start off by thanking all the teachers who have helped mold this class of 2018 into a group of young adults for not giving up and seeing to it that we did our very best. Thank you for everything you do to us in class, as well as behind the scenes to help us succeed. Let's not forget about our administrative team, who works so hard to make sure we have the best school to come to every morning. There's Mrs. Howard Bender, who always kept us in check. There's Mr. Sposito, our very own PSA recruitment ninja. And last but not least, there's the big cheese, Mr. Larson. Mr. Larson was the man who we could all hear before we saw him coming, the man who stood at the front door every morning to give us all fist bumps and hugs. I got to know Mr. Larson very well, as we both share the same hometown of South Windsor, Connecticut, but also as he helped me a lot to get ready for this next stage in life. But let's not forget about our theme teachers, Mr. LaChance, Mr. Platt, Chief Roberts. Mr. LaChance and Mr. Platt. Mr. LaChance and Mr. Platt, school is really lucky to have you two gentlemen as theme teachers. Two men that have dedicated their lives to the field of public safety, as well as teaching the next generation. Chief Roberts, we will miss you, and we wish you could have stayed a little bit longer, but we wish you the best of luck in your new job. As I'm realizing that this is not a dream, and this is actually reality, I'm beginning to realize how much I will miss this school. Between Mr. Dewey's sarcastic comments, Mr. Griffith's straight-up savagery, Mr. Curtin's comebacks, and the small rivalry between Miss Joyner and Miss Perez. I'll also miss the activities that I took part in, probably the biggest one of them all being one of the honor guard captains with my partner in crime, Gavin Arts. I will miss all the parades and other events him and I were in charge of coordinating. I will also miss all the open houses, field trips, school-wide events, and one of my favorite annual events, the law enforcement torch run. I will miss sitting out in the parking lot every morning with Anthony as we prepare ourselves for what we will incur that day. I will miss sitting in class, cracking jokes with Kalen. I will miss looking over at Gopal and shaking my head when what he said was far worse than anything I had to say. I'll also miss screaming, "Hey look, it's Shaniqua the legend," or Nashaya the legend whenever I walked in the room, and have them respond, "Hey look, it's Ben the Savage." But let's all put our hands together for the class of 2018. All of our hard work has finally paid off. I wish all of you luck as we move forward to the next adventure in our life. You will all do great things, but remember this, learning is not a spectator sport, so you have to try your hardest to become better. As I look back, the 2018 school year was a big one for the school, but definitely myself as well. For starters, our school finally has a fire truck, thanks to Mr. Jarvis's hard work and determination. Most people don't realize how much work it was to get Engine 1 here, but as a member of the South Windsor Fire Department, the department who graciously donated our truck, I was one of the very few students who saw this project unfold from beginning to end. Like I said before, this was a huge year for me personally. On January 8th, I made the decision to enlist in the Connecticut Army National Guard. As a valedictorian, this may shock some of you, but I would like to share the story of how this came to be. Let's wind the clock back about a year, the beginning. After thinking about it all summer, I knew it was going to be time to make a big decision sooner than later, either go to college or stay home. I knew I was going to have to go to college eventually, but I did not want to go right away. No matter how much I tried to explain this to everyone, there were very few people who seemed to understand where I was coming from. Fast forward a couple months. At the University in New Haven open house, I was officially accepted and given a presidential scholarship. The only thing I had left to do was say yes. When I came into school that Monday, my friends could tell I had something on my mind. When they asked, I told them what had happened, that I'd been accepted. I don't think any of them really knew what to say. Eventually, one of them said, "It would be really stupid of you not to take this opportunity. You can't let it go." I responded with 3 words, "Yeah, watch me." From this point forward, the pressure began to build very, very quickly because I had to choose between making a decision for myself or for everyone else. Just before Thanksgiving break, I stopped in the library to say hello to the best librarian in the world, Miss Jordan. And she could tell that I had something on my mind. So I explained my dilemma to her. What she said to me right there in that library put everything right into perspective for me. She said, "If you spend your life trying to make everyone else happy, you'll spend your entire life miserable." I had a lot to think about over that Thanksgiving break. Shortly after this, I found myself sitting in Mr. Larson's office having the same conversation with him. He asked me if I had considered all of my options. I thought I had, until he asked if I had considered the military. I thought he was just doing this because he was in the Army and thought I should go too. But it wasn't until that night I went home and thought about it, I had realized it could be a real possibility for me, that he really did care about my future. He and I had many more meetings, came up with a game plan, and about a week later called my parents in for a meeting. And so it began. Chief Roberts, Mr. Larson, and I sat down with a recruiter from each of the 5 military branches. By far, I liked the Army the most. On January 8, 2018, just past 1400 hours, 2 o'clock p.m., I raised my right hand and took the oath to become a soldier in the Army National Guard. But the point of me telling you this story is not to say that you should skip college and join the military instead, but instead to tell you that you should follow your dreams, whatever they are, and do what makes you happy. As Dr. Seuss put it, be who you are and say what you feel, because those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. Heck, disappoint anyone even, but never disappoint yourself. Life only comes once, so do whatever makes you happy and stay with whoever makes you smile. In closing, always remember this. This is the beginning of a new day. You have been given this day to use as you will. You can waste it or use it for good. What you do today is important because you are exchanging a day of your life for it. When tomorrow comes, this day will be gone forever, and there's nothing that you can do about it. In its place is something that you left behind, so let it be something good. Thank you, and congratulations again to the PSA class of 2018.